You made a face. You're not expecting that today?
No, I didn't know where we were going. Like,
I was confused,
why
too.
are we going back to the end of the Gator rant?
It's like football's over.
Like, there's a new one. He did one on the Gator rant. But, what?
No.
All right.
Well, welcome in. How's everybody doing? You didn't freeze overnight. Everybody okay power-wise? Rico, I didn't lose power. You good?
Well, you didn't lose power because, you live on that rich subdivision.
Oh, boy.
The boss.
Detroit-ish.
Right, you're Detroit-ish. So.
You're good?
I'm good.
Kenny's good. David, you did lose power, but you're good now?
I lost it 15 times throughout the night, but it kept coming right back on, so I'm good, though.
All right. Well, if anybody out there is dealing with it, we're thinking of you. This is a lousy situation. Did you see Evan? He's not in today.
All right.
Did you know why he's not in today?
Yeah.
Because a branch fell and nearly hit his car, and he had to wait to get all the debris cleared out.
Right.
So I know people are dealing with it today.
No, I was just thinking what David just said. Roberto, if you're smart, you could do an open with that statement. 15 times during the
Getting after it.
Just saying.
Number 4 is on the way.
Oh.
Turn off the lights.
Got to keep warm somehow.
Whew. All right, for those of us that did have power, can we touch on the circus that took place between Alabama and South Carolina? And I don't want to break down SEC hoops. I want to talk about how we operate as sports fans and how we defend our own.
Yeah.
Rico, we've touched on the story very briefly. It's been in some of our updates. It's become more of a national story. Alabama is a 1 seed. They're a great team. Their best player, Brandon Miller, is involved in an incident, even loosely involved in an incident that led to someone being murdered.
Yeah, his teammate, Darius Miles, had an incident, and it did not end well. Young lady lost her life, and we later find out that there's a chance that Brandon Miller was the person who supplied the gun, and it was like the catalyst. And what do? If you're Nate Oates then comes on and he has his press conference. But according to Nate Oates, he apologized last night. He was like, look, this may have come across as being flippant. I didn't really have all the information. And this is truly one of those where this is why you have a sports information director. This is why you have PR people. Nate, maybe you shouldn't have said anything because he came across as, well, maybe it was the wrong place, wrong time.
And just so we're clear, the wrong place was 1:45 in the morning with his teammate who had requested his gun back.
Right.
What do you think is going to happen at 1:45 in the morning when your teammate requests his firearm ASAP? That firearm ends up being used to murder somebody.
And in the end, Jameer Harris is dead.
Yeah.
And lost in all of that, Jameer Harris is dead. Whether this affects his draft status or whatnot,
it hasn't affected him at all. He scored 41 last night, game-winning layup. Didn't affect him at all. No suspensions, no punishment, no charges pending. He's A-OK because he's a great basketball player, right? If this is you or me or anybody else, and we transported a murder weapon to the scene of a crime, we wouldn't then be operating
his lawyer,
the very next day like nothing had happened.
His lawyer came out. Brandon's lawyer was like, well, he didn't know the gun was in the back seat. It was closed on top of it.
The text messages say, like, bring me my gun. And then they're talking about the heat's in the hat and one's in the chamber.
Right.
What do you think they were talking about? We're supposed to play stupid because he's great at basketball?
Well, that's just it. And it's just... They later that night, Reese Davis, they played a piece of from a podcast, College Game Day podcast, and Reese Davis talked to the athletic director of Alabama. And, I give Reese credit. He asked the question. He did it rather Jeff Rieger-like, where he didn't ask the question, but it was more of, well, people say, and then he asked that question. But here's what Reese Davis had to say to the Alabama AD last night.
So he doesn't out and out deny that that's part of this. Worth pointing out, Brandon Miller has not been charged.
No.
The deputy district attorney, Paula Whiteley, told AL.com, that's the big newspaper down there, that, quote, there's nothing we could charge Miller with. Does this pass the smell test at all? Or is this what we do with sports. We're
what we
willing,
do.
we're willing to
Yeah.
kind of excuse and minimize and, well, he was just returning property to a friend, Rico. It's like you and me and anybody else. I get a text at 1:45. Oh, you left something at my place. I'll drive it right over. Innocent enough.
Yeah.
We're willing to minimize because he's a great athlete, right? And when we do this, this is not, we can point fingers at Alabama fans who are minimizing, but let's not act like fans here don't do that stuff too. That's universal.
Happens at every program that for some reason when it's yours, when it's everybody else, you can see all the faults. You can see all the warts. But when it's your school, it's, well, we don't know the facts. Let's gather. And it's like, no, it's just as bad as it is for your school as it is for other ones. But, yeah, when Greg Barnes goes out there and talks about, well, we don't know and we're doing what's best for him, and I'm still thinking, Jameer Harris is dead, and it may have come by the hands of some of your players in your program. This is one where you'll never find out what the justice is and whether he did it or not. I think it's very simple, Cookies. If you're Nate Oates, Greg Barnes, hey, Brandon, you're not playing for a while. Well, Coach, I haven't been charged. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm sitting you because you've embarrassed this program. I'm sitting you because you put this program in a bad position. You put me in a bad position. You put your teammates. You need to think about what you've done. You're not going to play for a few games. We're going to sit you down, son, because I can't put you – because by me putting you back out on the court, by de facto, I'm agreeing with what you did.
I'm condoning the choices you made.
Is.
And you can't – people need to be very clear on this. The criminal system, the justice system, has their own definitions and criteria. You as a university can have your own lines, right? Whether it's the code of conduct that you need to operate as a student athlete. And I think if I'm the head coach of a university, of a basketball team, a football team, a hockey team, whatever, pretty cut and dry. You don't want guys transporting murder weapons at 1:45 in the morning. Whether the district attorney's going to charge him or not, the university could say, hey, this isn't a good look. This isn't a good choice. You can't be doing this stuff. You can't be playing right now. We need to actually let this at least cool off a little bit because, I mean, Rico, it's a circus. The guy scores 41 points last night. The crowd is chanting, lock him up. It's a South Carolina crowd, and you couldn't get a bigger dichotomy of sports fandom. One side saying lock him up because he's scoring 40, and the other side's like, he returned property. There's nothing wrong with this. Go Bama, roll tide, national titles on the line, baby. We're going for it. You could not get a bigger juxtaposition of sports fandom than last night.
Unfortunately, I've seen this so many times, Cookie. That's why I told you. Oh, this South Carolina may win this game.
Yeah.
Because there's too much on the line. Alabama put their head in the sand. This is what people do when it comes to their program. Is it right? No, it's absolutely wrong. And let's just put it like this. As far as Bama goes, even if you suspended him, you're still a 1 seed. Mm-hmm. You're the best team in the nation. You'll be fine when it comes to the tournament. But it looks as if you at least gave the illusion that you gave a damn. You at least acted and pretended that you cared that she lost her life. Jameer Harris lost her life, and you look like you're trying to be sorry. Because right now it's all about, well, since we don't know anything, we're going to play our star player, and he's going to play. And, yeah, we see this all the time.
Did you see what Nate Oates also said after the game? I know he clarified some of the comments that he had previously made, but he said, one of the most mentally tough kids I've ever coached, talking about Miller, said, no surprise he came ready to play and played well tonight. Could have been a distraction, but Brandon showed up. You know what could have been a distraction is when you have a death in your family or something horrific happens at a university and you have to, like, your mind is elsewhere. This is self-inflicted.
I'll give the reporters.
Like, oh, what a mentally tough individual. Coach, what are you doing?
You know what? At least I'll give some of the Alabama reporters and beat writers credit because they didn't skate over it. They kept going back to it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, okay, well, now that that's over, let's talk about the game and the breakdown in overtime. What was that final play call in overtime? They
were like,
They kept bringing it back. They did some Zoom interviews because I watched the whole thing, and I'm like, okay, this is how you handle it. If the coach is uncomfortable, he's uncomfortable for a reason. You're not here. Yeah, you won. congratulations. Young lady is still dead, and your players may have had involvement in this. So you do need to answer. You do need to give us answers to this. But it just amazes me. But yeah, we.
Well, Enrico, what I don't want to do is power rank.
No, we're
crimes.
not power ranking crimes.
So, but I do want to bring up that we've had incidents, not to this degree that led to murder, but incidents with both Michigan and Michigan State where people do stuff off the field and fans are very quick to absolve their own and point fingers at the other side. So
Right.
I just want to check in with fans who are viewing this Brandon Miller situation as to where we draw the line.
Yeah, that's just it, really.
Defending our own.
Yeah, 248-539-9797. Where's the line? Do you defend yours at all costs?